You ever have one of those days where it feels like you're in a fight with your own mind? You're trying to get something done, trying to focus, but your thoughts just will not cooperate. It's got to be one of the most common human struggles, right? We can control so much of the world around us, but when it comes to what's going on inside our own heads, well, that can feel like a totally different ballgame. So let's get into it because it turns out there's a real science to finding that mental clarity we're all looking for.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why is it so hard? I mean, if we're the ones in charge up there, if we're generating the thoughts, why can't we just switch off the ones we don't like? Why do we get caught in these endless loops of worry or get distracted so easily? It's a frustration that I think we can all agree we felt at some point. The good news is, really understanding the why is the absolute first step toward figuring out how to fix it. And this is probably what that battle looks like for most of us, day in and day out. You've got that constant inner critic. You know the one, that little voice that just loves to tell you what you're doing wrong. Then you throw in the absolute storm of digital distractions, notifications, emails, social media, all pulling you in a million different directions. It's no wonder this all leads to cognitive and emotional overload. And what happens then? Well, surprise, surprise, procrastination and burnout. If any of that is ringing a bell, trust me, you are in very good company. Okay, so where do we even begin to tackle this? We could jump into talking about willpower or discipline, but the real, true foundation for mental clarity, it's built somewhere you probably wouldn't expect. It's built while you're fast asleep. Yep, the secret to mastering your day actually starts the night before. This is where your brain does some of its most important work, all happening completely behind the scenes.
And we're not just talking about any sleep. We're talking specifically about deep sleep. This isn't just you being, completely knocked out. Deep sleep is an incredibly active, powerful state for your brain. It's defined by these huge, rolling, slow brainwaves. So think of it less like shutting down your computer for the night and more like running a really intensive system maintenance and defrag program. Your brain is actively repairing, restoring, and getting itself ready for the next day. So what's so amazing about this? Well, it has a direct, measurable impact on what you can do the next day. One of the biggest jobs deep sleep has is restoring your brain's ability to learn new things. See, as you go through your day, your brain's learning centers kind of get, full. Deep sleep is what clears that slate, what hits the reset button so you can actually soak up new information and learn new skills effectively. But wait, it gets even cooler. During deep sleep, your brain turns on this thing called the glymphatic system. The easiest way to think about this is as the brain's personal cleaning crew. It literally flushes out all this metabolic junk and other toxic waste that builds up while you're awake. It is a literal brainwash, and it's absolutely essential for your long-term brain health and your short-term mental clarity. And finally, number 3, deep sleep is all about energy. Your brain cells run on a tiny energy molecule called ATP. All day long, you're just burning through your supply. Deep sleep is when your brain gets to work and replenishes all that ATP. It's literally recharging its batteries. Without this, you wake up with that awful brain fog, feeling drained because your brain just doesn't have the fuel it needs to fire on all cylinders.
And look, this isn't just some nice theory. Scientists have actually proven it. There was this one incredible study where they were able to disrupt the slow waves, those deep sleep waves, in a very specific part of the brain. And what happened? The next day, the participants' ability to learn a new skill related to that part of the brain was shot. It was significantly worse. So the takeaway here is crystal clear. Getting enough quality deep sleep is completely non-negotiable if you want a high-performing mind.
Okay, so deep sleep sets the stage. It gives you this clean, charged up, ready-to-go brain to work with every morning. But that's only half the story, right? Now we need the tools, the conscious, deliberate things we can do during the day to build on that amazing foundation.
I absolutely love this quote. It comes from a user on Reddit, and it just nails the core idea of what we're talking about. The thoughts, the feelings, all that stuff that causes us so much stress, they're temporary. They're not you. They're just events happening in your mind. They show up, and eventually they leave. The goal isn't to stop them from happening. It's to realize you don't have to be swept away by them.
And there are some really powerful, proven methods for doing this. First up, you have cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Its whole idea is that it's our thoughts about events, not the events themselves, that create our feelings. So the goal is to learn how to spot and challenge those thoughts. Then you've got mindfulness. This is all about pulling your attention out of the past or the future and just planting it firmly in the present moment, usually by focusing on your breath. And finally, there's self-talk, which is exactly what it sounds like. Actively changing your inner conversation to be more supportive and, nicer to yourself. So let's make this super practical. How do you actually deal with that inner critic? Here's a simple 3-step plan. First, just recognize it. Start noticing when that negative voice pipes up. Second, and this is a brilliant little trick, separate yourself from it. Give it a funny name like the Doubter or Gremlin Gary or whatever. This creates a little bit of space. It's not you saying those things, it's the Doubter. And third, reframe. Actively talk back. Challenge what it's saying with something that's a bit more realistic and a lot more kind.
Now, here is a fascinating little brain hack that goes along with that. Check this out. The way you talk to yourself, the pronouns you use, makes a huge difference. Research shows that talking to yourself in the third person, it's actually more effective. So instead of saying, I can do this, try saying, you can do this. It kind of tricks your brain. It feels like you're getting advice from someone else, like a coach. And for some reason, we're way more likely to listen to that. It creates distance from the stress and makes the encouragement feel way more real. And look, none of this has to be some huge, complicated thing. Building mental strength can start with tiny little habits you do every day. Something as simple as breathing, inhaling for 5 seconds, exhaling for 5 seconds, has been scientifically shown to calm your entire nervous system. Or what about starting your day by just taking 2 minutes to think of 3 things you're grateful for? These aren't just fluffy, feel-good ideas. They are small, consistent actions that literally rewire your brain over time.
So we have these 2 giant pieces of the puzzle, right? On one hand, you've got the automatic, biological deep cleaning that happens when you sleep. And on the other, you have the conscious, deliberate work you do when you're awake. Now, let's put it all together and see the full picture.
This really is the heart of it all. It's a powerful partnership. You've got the unconscious foundation, that's your deep sleep, your automatic nightly reset, and then you have your conscious toolkit. That's all the mental practices like mindfulness and reframing you do during the day. The thing is, you really can't have one without the other. Trying to do mental practice on a brain that's exhausted and full of junk is, well, it's pretty useless. And a perfectly rested brain without any focused training can still be a chaotic mess. They need each other.
So here's the most important thing to take away from all this. Mastering your mind isn't just about gritting your teeth and using more willpower. It's not a brute force thing. It's about creating a partnership. It's about respecting your brain's biological needs with good sleep and then honoring that clean slate with intentional, conscious practice during the day. It's a whole system.
And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Every single night, your brain hands you a gift. It does a full reset. It cleans house, it recharges the batteries, and it gets you ready for the day ahead. So the question is, what are you doing with that gift? Are you using your days to build on that incredible foundation, or are you just letting it get cluttered and messy all over again? Every day, that choice is yours.